At the beginning of the story, a homeless man named Smith who was daydreaming while eating his favorite carrot. It is known that Smith is a former army soldier who is now a vagrant after Smith was lost his child and wife by dead. When he was busy daydreaming, a pregnant woman was seen walking in front of him. The woman looked scared. Just as the woman passed by, suddenly a man was chasing the pregnant woman. Seeing the man pull out a gun, Smith finally decided to follow him. Later, inside the building, the woman tried to fight back, however. One of his shots missed, and he was now out of bullets. Just as the man wanted to try to finish her off, Smith stopped him. In the end, Smith managed to finish the man off with just a carrot. At the same time, a group of armed men arrived who were also targeting the pregnant woman. As a result, there was a shootout between them. After Smith managed to finish them off, the woman, who was heavily pregnant, suddenly had contractions, and Smith was no choice to assist in to help her birth. Unfortunately, in the middle of labor, the gunman arrived again, so Smith had to return to action while shooting. Luckily, the baby made it out safely. However, the leader of the armed group, Carl Hertz, continued to target them. As a result, Smith tried to take the baby and the woman under cover while he would deal with Carl. At one point, Smith managed to snatch Carl's gun and point it back at him. Unfortunately, the gun didn't work because it had to use the owner's fingerprints. Soon, Carl's men arrived again, so Smith decided to flee the place with the woman and her baby. Although they continued to be hit by bullets, in the middle of their escape, Smith realized that the woman had been shot and dead. In the end, Smith decided to escape with only the baby. Meanwhile, Carl's group continued to punish Smith, and another battle had to take place. In the end, Smith managed to escape from the building by breaking through the window into the building next door. After Carl failed to catch up with Smith, he immediately ordered his men to clean up all the bodies that were there, including the woman's body. It is not yet known why the group attacked the woman and her baby. The next day, when Smith was carrying the baby, a man named Doty kept watching Smith. Realizing this, Smith immediately hid in a toilet. Not long after, Doty also entered the toilet and asked Smith to hand over the baby right now. However, because Smith refused, a fight between Doty and Smith ensued. On one occasion, Smith finally managed to corner Doty. However, Smith chose not to finish him. Then Smith immediately left there with the baby. 20 minutes after that, Carl got word from his men that Smith was now at a playground. At that moment, Carl will immediately rush there. The scene returns to Smith, who is now in a park. Here, Smith decides to keep the baby in a playground, hoping that someone will adopt the baby. Until one day there was a woman who wanted to take the baby, but suddenly it turned out to be Carl. Smith, who happened to still be there, immediately shot towards the playground, which made it difficult for Carl to shoot the baby. Then, Carl took advantage of the opportunity to immediately take the baby away. After that, Smith went to the embroidery place, then met one of his female acquaintances named Donna Quintano. It is known that Donna is a comfort woman who has just lost a baby. Here, Smith asked Donna to take care of the baby, including breastfeeding it. However, Donna refused Smith's request, even though Smith would pay her $5,000. That's because Donna thought that the baby was just kidnapped by Smith. Smith also explained that he was not a baby kidnapper, but Donna, who did not believe, still refused his request. On the other hand, Carl was staring at the face of the baby's mother, who was to be buried. Finally, Carl realized something, that Smith must be looking for someone to breastfeed the baby. Then, Carl immediately told his men to look for every comfort woman who was breastfeeding, because Smith must have taken the baby there. Long story short, Carl finally met Donna, and he immediately asked where Smith and the baby were now. Donna told him that Smith and the baby had indeed been here earlier, but Donna, who thought the baby was the object of kidnapping, immediately kicked Smith out. Donna also swore that she didn't know where Smith was now. Carl didn't believe her. Instead, he threatened Donna with a gun. Then he began to torture Donna while scaring her. But not long after, Smith suddenly appeared at gunpoint. Carl quickly turned the gun on Smith, until in the end they both pointed their guns at each other. Here Smith knew that the gun Carl was using had no bullets. As a result, Smith took Carl out. It turned out that outside, all of Carl's men had been defeated by Smith. In the end, Carl also realized that Smith's gun had run out of bullets and was now only using the fingerprint pistol belonging to Carl's men. However, it turned out that Smith had brought part of Carl's men's hands, so he could use the gun. Smith then fired at Carl's body. After finishing off Carl, Smith immediately invited Donna to go with him, because if she stayed there, it would be very dangerous for Donna. Then Donna, Smith, and the baby left there using a car on the side of the road. Behind that, it turned out that Carl was still alive, because previously Carl had worn a bulletproof vest. Back to Smith, who is now telling Donna how he came to be with the baby. Hearing a long explanation from Smith, Donna finally knows how the baby came to be with Smith. Not long after, Smith was annoyed by a driver who littered, so this is what Smith did. He pulled over the driver, causing the littering driver's car to crash into a car parked on the side of the road. Later, Smith stopped his car at a gun shop. Here, Smith bought some ammunition, including a bulletproof vest for the baby. After that, they walked to an empty building, precisely to the top floor. Apparently, upstairs is Smith's place, even though it was previously known that Smith was a vagrant. On the other hand, Carl contacted his other men to come pick him up. In a short time, when Carl was already on his way, he accidentally found a car whose glass had been broken right in front of the gun shop. Carl sure that the car was the one that had been used by Smith. Inside the building, Smith and Donna are seen putting on a diaper for the baby using a newspaper. Then Smith tried to find information on television, hoping that there was news broadcasting about the baby's mother. Unfortunately, on the television there only news about a senator who was running for president. The senator was named Senator Rutledge. Then Smith switched the channel to metal music. It turns out that this made the baby stop crying. Finally, Smith thinks that the baby's mother might come from an area close to the metal music club. Behind that, Carl and dozens of his men had gathered under the building ready to attack Smith. They knew Smith's location from the owner of the gun shop earlier, because coincidentally, the distance to the building was not too far. Then, Carl's men began to attack, and there was a shootout between them. Donna was seen going down an elevator. Meanwhile, Smith, carrying the baby, continued to shoot with Carl's men. On one occasion, Smith managed to get down using a rope. Then he escaped with Donna, who was waiting for him below. When they were outside the building, it turned out that this time Carl and his remaining men continued to look for Smith, assisted by a sniffer dog. Donna had told Smith to just finish off the dog from a distance. However, Smith refused, and he preferred to set a trap. As a result, the dog was fooled by a paper diaper that Smith kept in a pile of garbage. Then the scene shows Smith, Donna, and the baby who are currently going to a metal music club. Upon arrival, Smith asked the club owner if there was a pregnant woman living nearby. The club owner initially did not want to say anything, but after being threatened, the owner finally told him that upstairs was an inn, and there were several rooms rented by pregnant women. At the door of the upstairs room, Smith told the club owner to come back downstairs. Smith, who went inside, he was surprised by several people who were already lying down. Then Smith tried to check other rooms, until he accidentally saw Dottie, who was on the phone with someone. Dottie said over the phone that there was one baby left, and he would look for it immediately. It is known that Dottie was the one who previously targeted the baby and had a fight with Smith while in the toilet. After Dottie left, Smith went back to check another room with Donna, until they found a lab. When they had been examining the lab for a long time, it was finally revealed that someone had deliberately donated sperm to several women, with the hope that the women would give birth to babies with the same spine marrow as the donor. However, there were also some groups who did not want the baby to go to the donor, such as Carl's group. This group insisted on killing the baby. When they want to leave, Smith accidentally found a Hammerson pistol. Smith, who is an army soldier, is a weapons expert. He also knows that the pistol with the Hammerson brand will only be marketed in the next 6 months. Here, Smith believes that the owner of the Hammerson company has something to do with all these situations. The next day, Smith took Donna and the baby to a war museum. Here, Smith asked Donna to hide with the baby inside an M24 steel tank, so that Donna and the baby would be safe in case of a surprise and suddenly attack. Then Smith went alone by infiltrating the factory of the Hammerson Company, which is a weapons company in America. Inside the weapons factory building, Carl was seen talking to the owner of the company while carrying a dog. This is the owner of the Hammerson Company, who has a name like the name of his company, mainly Hammerson. Then, Carl also told Hammerson that the baby they were after had not been successfully finished off. That's because it has been disturbed by a man named Smith. Hearing this, Hammerson asked Carl to immediately finish off the baby and also Smith before the presidential election took place. Then, what does the presidential election have to do with the baby? Other than that, it appears that Smith continues to listen to their conversation secretly. Then, Smith prepared the weapons that were there to carry out the attack. After preparing weapons for a long time, it turned out that Carl realized Smith's presence, so he, Hammerson, and his men immediately shot at Smith with firearms. Later, Carl said that he already knew who Smith was. In fact, he also knew that Smith had become depressed and homeless since the death of his child and wife, which was the result of a shootout with a group of robbers. Hearing this, Smith immediately became angry, then attacked with the weapons he had prepared. After successfully eliminating many of Hammerson's men, Smith immediately ran away from there while eliminating the rest. After escaping, Smith returned to meet Donna and the baby in a steel tank. Here Smith said that Hammerson was the one who had wanted the baby dead. However, Smith does not know who the person who wants the baby's spinal cord is. Until when they opened the diaper, there was a sheet of newspaper explaining that there was a senator who would run for president. If the senator is elected, then he will revoke gun ownership rights for all citizens. Not only that, he would also shut down gun companies, including Hammerson. Here Smith realized that the one who needed the baby's spine marrow was the senator, while Hammerson and Carl did not want the senator to get the baby. Smith then plans to meet the senator. In the meantime, he asks Donna to take the baby out of town by bus. Donna and the baby went to the bus station. On the way to the station, they were suddenly attacked again by Carl's men. In the end, Smith and Donna separated, while the baby was still carried by Smith. Then Smith broke into a car. Then he escaped using the car. However, from behind, Carl's men continued to chase until they got into a shootout. Unfortunately, from this incident, the baby had to bounce out. Then, Smith and a car of Carl's men tried to crash into each other, until Smith got into their car. Then Smith quickly beat him. When Smith wanted to take the baby, who was still in the middle of the road, it turned out that there was already Carl ready to hit the baby. But apparently, what Carl hit was just a doll that had been fitted with a recording device. It turns out that the baby is still in the steel tank and is currently being picked up by Donna. Then Smith contacted the senator's office while telling him that he was the one who had brought the baby. Hearing this confession, the senator's office advised Smith to meet with the senator's aide. It turned out that the senator's aide was none other than Dottie, the person who had wanted to snatch the baby from Smith. A short time after meeting with Dottie, Smith asked Dottie to take him to meet the senator first, then he would give the baby. Then Dottie takes Smith to meet the senator on an airplane. Here it is finally revealed that the senator has been suffering from cancer, and that's why he really needs the same spine marrow as him. Meanwhile, the Hammerson and Carl groups did not want the senator to recover so that he could not run for president. Because known in his plan, the senator will revoke gun ownership rights for citizens, including closing his company Hammerson. Not long after, Smith saw the senator's pants covered in dog hair, just like Hammerson's dog. Seeing this, Smith realized that the senator was now consolidated with Hammerson. So this is what Smith did, namely making the senator a hostage on a plane that was filled with bodyguards. It turned out that Smith's guess was right, that now Hammerson had collaborated with the senator. It was revealed that the senator had asked Hammerson for help to get the baby, and in return, the senator would not close Hammerson's company if he was elected as president. Later, Smith told them all to stand down. He then took the senator to the cargo hold. Here Smith said that if the senator died, then everyone would sympathize. Congress will also definitely pass and approve the senator's agenda, which previously wanted to revoke gun ownership rights for citizens, including the Hammerson Company cover. After killing the senator, Smith immediately got off the plane using a parachutist. At the same time, the senator's men came down, so there was a battle in the air. In the end, Smith was able to finish them off, including the aide, W. Once at the ground, Smith walked to a building. However, due to the injuries he received, Smith suddenly fainted. When Smith woke up, it turned out that he was already in a place and was being held hostage by Hammerson's group. Here Carl, who is Hammerson's right hand, asks Smith where Donna and the baby are. They were targeting Donna because Donna already knew a lot about their crimes. However, because Smith did not want to answer, in the end Carl began to break Smith's fingers one by one. Until when Carl wanted to stab Smith in the eye, Smith suddenly managed to gore Carl, which made him successfully attack and turn the situation back. From this incident, Smith managed to finish off Hammerson and his men. When Smith was also wanting to shoot Carl, it turned out that his shot missed because Smith's fingers were bent. Then Smith rushed to another room and he sat by the fireplace. Soon Carl came and he looked cheerful, because this time Smith could no longer escape his pursuit. But it turned out that Smith had put a bullet between his fingers, and when his hand was brought closer to the fireplace, the bullet automatically shot straight through Carl's body. Then Smith left there, and it turned out that Hammerson's dog wanted to go with Smith. A few days later, Smith and the dog went by bus to see Donna. Long story short, Smith got off at an ice cream shop. It turns out there is Donna, who is now working at the store while watching the baby. Shortly after that, a group of robbers suddenly arrived. Smith immediately grabbed his gun, then shot the robbers with the help of a carrot, just like at the beginning of the story, and the movie ended.